Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. VA and SSI recipients act now to add eligible children to economic impact payment. COVID tax tip 2020-15, May 4th, 2020. People who receive Supplemental Security Income and Department of Veterans Affairs benefits who have children need to act by May 5th. So this is going to be the last push here for the May 5th deadline for the people who qualify. Once again, those are people who receive Supplemental Security Income and Department of Veterans Affairs benefits, and those are people that also have qualifying children. So in other words, you're typically going to get the payment automatically if you're receiving benefits from these institutions because the IRS is working with them. However, those benefits will be for the base benefits as if they were one individual. If there is a dependent involved and the IRS doesn't have their information, which may be the case, especially if, and of course, if the tax return wasn't filed, because the tax return is not required to be filed due to the taxable income being below a certain threshold, you need to give that added information to the IRS so they can add the extra $500 to it per eligible child. Need to do so by May 5th. Back to the text. To quickly receive the full amount of their economic impact payment. Those who need to act are those who receive SSI and VA compensation and pension benefits and didn't file a tax return for 2018 and 2019. So once again, they're highlighting here specific individuals, those specific individuals, people that didn't file 2018, 2019, people that didn't just choose not to file those tax returns, but people that are not required to file those tax returns. Why? Because their taxable income is below a certain dollar threshold, and therefore they don't need to file those tax returns, and they're going to be getting benefits, some of these benefits for the Supplemental Security Income and the Veterans Affairs benefits. Normally, if you get those benefits and you're not required to file a tax return, you're still okay. You shouldn't have a problem. You should still get the payment, that payment being the $1,200. However, if there's something that would affect that payment, such as an eligible child, that's who this is aimed to. That's where the May 5th deadline falls into place, and that's where you'd have to give the IRS added information, and you'd want to do it quickly so that you can get the added $500 before they process the payment. Back to the text. Their $1,200 payments will be issued soon. In order to add the $500 per eligible child amount to these payments, the IRS needs the dependent information before the payments are issued. Otherwise, their payment at this time will be $1,200, and by law, the additional $500 per eligible child amount will be paid in association with a return filing for tax year 2020. So in other words, if you don't hit the May 5th deadline and this applies to you, then the tool that you can use to do that will go away. So you might think, why do you need the deadline? Like, why don't you just send me the $1,200, then I'll give you this information later and you can just send me the other $500 when you want. And that makes sense. You would think, maybe that would be possible. But no, the IRS says that's not possible. They want this to be done before. They want to send out just one check for whatever it is, it being either the base amount of the $1,200 or plus $500 per eligible child. You need to give them that information in these situations for that plus $500. If you don't, you could still get access to the $500. However, you're going to have to actually file a tax return in 2020. So that's going to be a ways away, one. And number two, you're going to have to file a tax return for people that don't typically file tax returns, which will be more burdensome, you would think, than using this tool to get the payment done now. So it probably would be faster and a benefit in multiple ways if this applies to get it done using this method. Back to the text. A quick trip to a special non-filers tool. There's a link to that tool here. There'll be a link to this in the description. Back to the text. On irs.gov today can help put all of their eligible economic impact payment money into a single payment. This tool is available in English and Spanish. The Treasury Department will make these automatic payments to people who receive SSI and VA benefits. This group will generally receive their economic impact payment by direct deposit, direct express deposit card, or by paper check, just as they would normally receive their benefits. So in other words, if you're getting SSI and VA type of benefits, then whatever method that you typically would use, because the IRS is kind of working with those departments. So if you don't give them any added information and you didn't file 2018 or 2019 because you're not required to, and you're receiving payments from SSI and VA, then the IRS should be working with these institutions and give you the base amount of the $1,200 in the same format that you have been receiving payments from these institutions from. And then if you wanted to give them the added $500 or the information for a qualified dependent, if that were applicable by May 5th, then again, the payment method you would think would be the same there, but hopefully the payment amount would be increased by the $500 per eligible child. Back to the text. For more information related to veterans and their beneficiaries who receive compensation and pension CMP benefit payments from VA, please visit va.gov. There's a link to the va.gov here, as well as links to more information regarding the Economic Impact Payment Information Center.